Hey there. Good morning.
Oh, it's so funny. Good morning, Tammy.
How are things, Julie?
Good. Happy fall, right?
Yes.
Happy
Happy
fall.
fall, everybody.
I think out in California, I always say fall, but I think on the East Coast or Midwest, it's always autumn. So,
Yeah, do they really? They say more autumn than fall? I
I,
didn't know that. There.
I could be wrong. What do I know? If you know that, if anybody in our audience knows that, let us know.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, actually.
Uh, so yeah, we have some. Well, what's going on? We have some weather related questions today. And I think honestly, my guides are chomping at the bit to give you a little bit of a political update.
Okay. I'll let you go with that. You want to do that first and then we do the questions?
No, let's do Rudy. Let's do
Do
Rudy.
Rudy first? Okay.
Yeah,
And thank you, Rudy. He sent us some wonderful questions as usual. We appreciate that.
I know. I thought maybe he fell off because he was like, but thank you, Rudy. You do, you're so appreciated. Just so you know that we can't
Yes.
say that enough. So we started with he says now I'll. How about if I go ahead and read it?
Yeah.
Now that we on the West Coast finally got past the heat wave,
Yeah. Ooh.
and now we are getting the remnants of Typhoon Mebok hitting Alaska and now us. I didn't even hear about that. Plus all the other crazy weather across the world. Is this being caused by Mother Nature, global warming, or is this caused directly by humans using weather manipulation machines?
Okay. Wow. You want to start? Do you get anything on that first? Or oh, I don't care who starts.
You go ahead.
I'll just have just to tune in there for a moment with it. Okay. And because I always have to do this. Thank you for the question, Julie. Okay. So guys, is the weather changes, guys, is this being caused by Mother Nature, global warming? First of all, let me stop there. What's causing all these funky weather changing patterns really across the world at times? First thing I'm hearing is Mother Nature does have a lot to do with it. Certainly is involved. So we're not going to blame this all on global warming or even, this idea that humans using weather manipulation machines. Would that be great if we all had our own personal one? Sorry, I'm just chuckling because I used to always think that, like, gosh, can we just like have the weekends like be really beautiful for people who have plans on the on the weekends, or something like that. Anyway, okay, but I like that idea of that. Okay, so guys, we're saying Mother Nature is having a lot to do with this change. Wow, okay, because it's a lot in conjunction with how you're all feeling and what you're thinking. I'm going to get to obviously what you're doing because naturally there is something to be said for that. We do feel that human, okay, no, let's go to global warming. So the idea of global warming as well, guys, yes, that obviously plays a part as well. It's a lot related, I think, with Mother Nature is what they're showing me. So these two are very strong in what's creating, they're telling me atmospheric changes, because I don't usually talk like that. So atmospheric changes. That's a lot of this global warming kind of that they're alluding to here or saying. We do think that Mother Nature is in complying, believe it or not, with some of these things that are a little bit even stronger force than even Mother Nature alone, is responsible for. So it's an effect of it is almost what I'm getting, of maybe this global warming that's happening. Human beings having a big part especially about the global warming. Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. There has been many changes over the years. They have been very gradual for the most part. It's starting to vamp up because, yeah, they're giving me the word toxins that are in your environment and in the air are contributing to this, which is sad to hear, right? No surprise, I think, for many of us to hear that. And what do we think about this? Is it any of it directly caused by humans using weather manipulation machines? I'm getting, we don't see this happening, no. That's their take on it, but we do feel that the first two are the big culprits. They're chuckling even say that, they mean that lightheartedly, but yes, that this is what's really changing a lot of the weather patterns. And I will just ask us, what do we say about this, guides, in general? Will this be continuing? What do we think? Nice. In time, you will see a difference. Didn't expect to hear that. There will be more attention, more than there is even now, put on this subject, because as you see in your world, whatever starts to show itself forefront and become bigger, then starts to get more of the attention. So as this is happening, it's almost like, if you want to call it, they're saying prioritizing it. Then there is more attention addressed to it. Is there any chance of really helping this then, guides, the whole global warming? Not necessarily at first, but we do feel there's some kind of magnetic, wow, why am I getting all these emotions? Magnetic use, some use of, what they first showed me was crystals. Really interesting. And then they're talking this magnetic use, and then I got teary, like emotional, because it's going back to what was maybe in Atlantis, or something like that. There is more of that starts to help counterbalance, to start heal. Will we see it in our lifetime, guides, as we mean it in this lifetime? I realize there's many, opportunities to be in lifetimes. From your perspective, Tammy, they just said your lifetime, Tammy? Not necessarily, but we do see a gradual progress of this in your lifetime, going towards something. So it's not that for like me in my lifetime, I won't see some ideas of this happening. But okay, so I will just go to the obvious question. And Julie, before I go back to you, I'll just say this: what can we do? Because that's just another question about this change in the weather patterns. Wow, they even just got overwhelmed. Okay, because it's so much, isn't it? There's a lot of humans on the planet. And if all of you were just more conscious of the healing of the planet, loving the planet, giving to the planet, and then of course doing your part for the planet. They're showing me waste. Be careful of things that they're even saying that you purchase. I can't say that I could follow that easily, but what they're showing me is, like, you purchase something, or before you purchase it, asking yourself and getting more savvy about how this is a lot to ask, they just said, but how it even breaks down once you're done with it. Will this be something that will harm the planet, or is this something that doesn't matter? But we think there could be more awareness even in that, where people start really kind of looking at how they're making things. Not that it's not already happening. There's been great strides made in that way. But maybe more of that's going to be coming. So our part could be being more conscious of it, is how I would sum that up of what they're saying. So, I think there will be it will change eventually. It will circle back somehow. I just don't know if it will be for all of us to see. But anyway, that's what I'm getting. I will hand that to you, Julie. What do you get?
Yeah, we concur. We don't have a lot to add to that. A couple of things, though. There are some ways to manipulate the weather, but they are not able to do it on such a massive level as we are experiencing. And we knew this was coming. We knew we were going to have these superstorms, these increased heat waves and floods. We've been told this is coming for many, many years, and well, wake up, here it is. They're like, you people on the planet, unless it's in your face, you just don't see it, care, or whatever. So the other thing that we got was, I'm going to say this, but then I'm going to go into it. Mother Nature is pissed. And she isn't really pissed. She's just like, God, what are you guys doing? Why? Then you wait until the last second, and then I have to work harder, and then you blame it on me. And it's yeah, some of it is a natural response to, most of it is a natural response to the way you have been living your lives. Um, and we see that changing too. But not for many, many years will you see the most noticeable. We are ramping up, as I think you said, we are ramping up, and then we will level off and then begin to see some of that change. But that's going to take many years. So yeah, it is it while those machines can do certain things like seed the clouds and all that stuff, that is not what is causing these superstorms and floods and heat. It sounds like, I don't know what they called it in the Bible. There's a, it's like, the pestilence and all that stuff. It sounds like it's here, but it's not. It's just Mother Nature reacting, our planet reacting to it. It's almost like you said, the toxins. What they showed me is that she is trying to fight off a virus. And not that we are the virus, but the things that we are doing are creating that virus, and Mother Nature is fighting it off in response.
Yeah, I love that, Julie. That's great. That's what really resonated with me too when you said that. It's a good way of putting it. Yes.
So yeah, that's just the answer to that question. Yeah, good question, Rudy.
It is a good question, really good questions. So thank you for that, Rudy.
And then he said, "Oh, I have an addendum to my earlier question."
Oh, I don't think I saw that.
You don't have that?
I don't think I have that. So yeah, just read that. I don't
It's
think
short. He says, speaking of weather, what about the 7.6 earthquake in Mexico? This is the third major quake on the same day since 1985. Are these natural or human influenced? And we're going to say it is an addendum. It is an addendum to what we just said. The earth is responding. Mother Nature is responding. Now, Mexico is, I don't want to say home to more earthquakes, but they are prone to more earthquakes. It happens a lot in Mexico on a regular basis, we'll say. It really kind of follows on to what we just said. Mother Nature is responding in whatever way she can to say, change, pay attention. Yes, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And it is both human influence, which causes the natural response. So we don't think that that's a long involved response, but it seems like that is the short and the long answer to that. Yeah. So Tammy, if you want to add something to that.
No, that's great. I was getting like some visuals, so I'm just going to share them. But like I was seeing anger erupting. I was seeing this red underneath. It was really interesting, like, under Mexico in a sense, and maybe where exactly these earthquakes are. And then I was seeing like rituals of, again, I want to say crystals being laid on the ground and maybe in these fault areas. And I even saw flowers being laid down. It was very ritualistic, almost like, but I got the impression that this might help. It's almost like the gods are angry. I know that sounds very, I don't know what we title that, but you know what I mean. And yet there was those who can really work, people, energy workers that really like to connect with the earth. This would be really recommended in that area, is what I'm getting, of like healing and love. And it's like trying to calm that fire, because that's how I saw it. I saw it more than words. I was getting more pictures in this. It is interesting. So I'm just sharing that,
It really does make complete sense. And, the earth is kind of one big crystal and magnetic field. So it's actually one big crystal. I mean, that's what everything in the earth is kind of a crystal of some form, right? So it all makes sense. Again, it seems like Mother Earth is like, oh, we have COVID right now, Well, she's being attacked with these other things. So it's, again, I don't think I can add anything really new to that. And I think your visual of that is very appropriate.
Yeah, it's just kind of interesting. It kind of surprised me, but worth sharing, I think, in case there's anybody who hears this that is an energy worker that likes to work with the land and even physically rituals out in areas. So
And
just saying.
there are, and it makes sense, you know, that
Yeah, interesting. There's been a few. Is that what he had said in the question too? That there, I don't think I knew about this.
he said this is the third major quake on the same day. I'm wondering it might be the same date
Oh,
since
interesting.
1985. I
Really?
don't know how,
Wow.
I would have to look that up. I, I, I don't know that there's anything to really read into that. Um, no, I mean, you know, there are no coincidences, but what does it really mean other than friggin' pay attention to your planet, people?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Really interesting. Yeah.
Shake things up and cause all this. Oh, well, you know, we don't need to say it again. It's like, yeah, pay attention and get it done. And maybe in 20 years we'll see, you know, some really significant changes that bring down the temperature. But a lot of the damage has been done. You know, the
Mhm.
polar ice cap is not going to come back anytime soon. So, and this is already adding to the sea level in various places in on your planet, and that is it's just a it's a domino effect. You know, you do one thing and it causes something else, and well, that's what the domino effect is. So we'll just leave it at that, and we want to stop the dominoes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good questions, though. Really good questions. And you know what came up for me as you were talking was sadness. You know, sadness that um, that the planet is suffering. You know, this virus, and that hopefully people will make the change. I mean, it's starting. It is starting. It has been starting because we've had activists who've been out there, you know, preaching and causing, we don't want to say mayhem, but, you know, causing attention through their, through, through what they see as their pathway on in this world. So is to make people aware and to change what's happening from these negative effects to the positive effects. So,
Right.
so yeah, it's going to just take some time.
Will. It
So,
will.
so we wanted to talk a little bit about it's political, yes, but it's more than we'll say political in you know the tradition. Well, we're just gonna say it. Okay. So what we noticed was that and there has been a trend recently on your planet in many countries towards this authoritarian rule, and we find it interesting that Italy had their election just a couple of days ago, and this woman won. She's the new president, first woman president. I think they're president there, maybe prime minister. I think it's president, and and she is basically part of the fascist generation. Her I think her father or her grandfather was I could be getting this wrong, but is was Mussolini. I mean, it's very rooted in fascism, her politics, and so um, what they were saying to me, and I was processing this as me, is we are curious to see how this impacts Italy until they go. They think she's great until all this stuff happens, and then they're like, what were we thinking? And they will wake up and say, what were we thinking? And then it will be a fight to change back to democracy, to a democratic rule, because once these people get entrenched, they don't like to let go. So we want to watch that, and we just find it very interesting, and we think it merits monitoring and observance. Um, we will observe, but we want you to pay attention to that because it, yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon that's happening. Um, it's happened over the eons. This is just the way it is. Those kinds of governments rise and fall, and it will fall because people innately want to have freedom. They don't want to be oppressed. And so, and you see it happening in a country, Iran, that is so brutal to their people, much less to men, of course, but brutal to women. And yet you see the response, if you have followed the news at all, of a huge surgence of people who are repelling this. They're standing up and saying, we don't want this kind of rule. And they're young people. They're young people. So, and the people in rule are old, and it's like, die and let new people take over. And this is really the way it should be worldwide. You want to allow the young, vibrant forces in. So we'll see what happens in the scheme of that. To come closer to home, I checked in today, and again, I always preface this with, this is a moment in time. Everything we talk about is a moment in time, and we'll see where this goes over the next 5 to 6 weeks until your election in November. So they just said to me, it's like rock and roll. Get ready. It's going to be a wild ride, more wild than you would have imagined. And many surprises towards, we'll use the categories of blue and red rather. I mean, they're political groups, Democrats and Republicans and whatever's in the middle, which actually is a lot of people are in the middle. But again, it comes back to this, people don't want to be oppressed. And we're not going to go into a lot of this, but that was just what they said. And when I said to them a surprise, I'm like, is this a good surprise in my viewpoint? And they're like, yes, from my viewpoint, I'm a Democrat. I'm just going to, aside from being registered as a Democrat, it's all about, freedom for me and the rights of women to not be, second-class citizens, which is what has happened. So they're saying, yeah, this is going to change, and you're going to see an upheaval that's just going to be surprising, where women and men are rising up and saying, no, 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 you cannot oppress us. We're not going back. And they are going to vote to overturn the people in power who in your government who have voted these justices in, who overturned Roe versus Wade, and a new wave of people are going to come in to create laws that bring back these rights, in fact, make them better. Makes me hopeful. I just hope that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's all they kind of wanted to say. We'll see. I always say we'll see, because they tell me stuff and I'm like, really? God, I hope you're right. And truthfully,
yeah,
they've always been right when they tell me this stuff. Now, again, all that being said, sometimes the devil is in the details. They told me that, oh, your candidate, Hillary Clinton, is going to win. And she did. She won by a large percentage of the popular vote, but she didn't win the electoral vote, which
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Threw everything into chaos. So I'm trying now to ask more questions. And when they say to me, oh, we think there's going to be a big surprise, I'm like, well, yeah, what kind of surprise is that? Mm-hmm. Is it going to be a blue wave? Is it going to be people who want freedom, who are not going to be oppressed? So they're going to vote out those people who are prone to do that. And they said yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Younger generation will be interesting. And a side note to what you're saying about your guides and what they said to you about that win for Hillary is, I know for mine too, for my guides, is that they'll sometimes see the energy. So they probably saw all this wind energy in her aura. And so they reflect that back to us sometimes, you know. I mean, I know that could, like you said, the details sometimes can be a little, you know, different or something. So yeah, anyway, but I just thought I'd add that because they probably saw this energy in her space.
Yeah, and it really is, you have to, they're saying to me, you have to ask deeper questions,
Mhm, mhm.
fill in the blanks so that you get the answers that are helpful.
Right.
Um, and I'm just looking for clarity. So that's what I.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, hopefully that helps everybody. And I think that's it for today. What we will say, which we didn't say, is how to find us. And I do want to say, if you find what we bring you helpful, just sharing it with one person and asking them to check us out. And if they find it helpful, to subscribe, and so on. We kind of grow very, very, very slowly. We'd like to grow a little bit faster. So yeah, just sharing it really with one person, who is like-minded, who is willing to go and listen to 30 minutes of something. So
Yeah, exactly. Well said. Yeah, we appreciate that, and always appreciate your questions that you bring in. It's really fun for Julie and I to be able to, you know, tune into our guides and to get some new information to things maybe we hadn't thought about asking. So we appreciate that. Thanks to all of you who've already been doing that and have subscribed. So thanks so much. So Julie, where can everybody find you at?
I am minimally on Facebook as Biz Psychic, I think. And
Either the Biz Psychic or Biz Psychic, right?
this is terrible. You talk and I'll look.
Might be the Biz Psychic. I'm not sure because yeah.
Isn't this because sometimes something is one way in one place and another in somewhere else,
Mhm.
blah blah blah. So while you tell them.
Okay, yeah, so that's fine. So you can find me, tammy'sintuitive.com is my website, and I'm on social media as Tammy's Intuitive Services for TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. And I do channeled messages on Tammy's channel chats as well. That's YouTube. So if you're interested in a session for me, you can get me on my website. I have a contact form.
And you can always email me for a reading. You can still do it on my website. That may be going away next year, and I might just be doing it by email, but we'll see. I'll let you know. And it is the Biz Psychic.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you so much, and keep those questions coming. Yeah, it's a privilege for us to ask our guides and bring that information to you. We get a lot of what we call drop-in information, and Tammy's better at sharing it. I have not got that down yet. I have to learn to do that. I have not got that down. I work on it.
Only when it comes in.
The whole political thing for me was a drop-in. That's why I brought it up today.
Yeah, good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. He, she, them, they, we, us. We are, hope that got everybody. We will say goodbye until next time. And thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.